I have addressed like one thing, that UPSC journey was somewhat more tough because of different methods, and we here will try to teach you that methods and make you quickly go through this journey, and you may succeed in this. And second thing is why Vijayebhava program is somewhat different from the other programs. Now I'll go with the history subject. Okay, have you gone through have you gone through this previous year's questions, like where did the UPSC more focused on ancient or medieval or modern? Modern. Okay. What about others? Anyone can say? Where did? Okay. Modern. Okay. Arvind. Yes. And what about others? Modern. Only one modern. But can you see that from when did UPSC is somewhat increasing in the medieval questions? If you observe in the previous times, in history we says that there are three parts. One is ancient, medieval and modern. Initially in the ancient times they used to focus on Harappan as well as Indus Valley civilization, and on the later part Buddhism and Jainism, and so after socio-religious movement they used to focus on political history. Okay, but nowadays they were not focusing on the political history, but in the ancient time they will still keep that Harappan and Indus Valley civilization was one or the same important. And the second, Buddhism and Jainism, they will compulsory include one question from that, either from the religion of Buddhism or religion from the Jainism, or else like Vedic culture or any other culture. And but they will also focus on the later part. When they come to this kings, they will only focus on the socio-economic goals of this kingdoms. Other than that, like they are not focusing more. And in the medieval India, if you observe from 2016 to 2020, the rate of questions was reduced. Even you can negligibly say that only one or two questions was appeared from the medieval India, not more than that. But in the modern India, like we used to get more questions. Okay, from 2016 onwards also we can say that at least consistently we used to get 5 questions. Okay, other than this, like the weightage we can give according to this is ancient is okay on the second place, medieval is on the third place, and first place will be goes to modern India, right? This is how somewhat we keep on perceiving if you observe in the previous year's question. But let me change that perspective. Okay, if you see from this 2020, from 2024, the rate of questions has been increased in medieval India. Why? It's many persons says that history is a static subject, it doesn't change much, and the questions comes on the repeated topics and repeated themes where they will not change. But from 2020 they have changed this pattern. Why? Because we have seen in this news that there are numerous temples which were destroyed, and those temples were like their religious character was being changed into mosque or some other theme, and nowadays these persons are focusing to rebuild their own temple and like taking certain place from this really of mosque. Okay, take example in 2022, D.Y. Chandrachud, the Supreme Court Chief Justice of India, has said that there is a clause in this Place of Worship Act where if it was recognized as a place of monument, then it can be inquired that what is the religious character in terms of in the ancient time. The original religious character of that place can be inquired. This was the theme which was given by CJI. From then onwards, we can focus on this medieval India. The numerous questions, if you say on this APPSC, okay, Andhra Pradesh Public Service Commission, there is a question called which ruler has destroyed the numerous Jain temples. In the UPSC also you will try to focus on the soldiers which were using that cap. Okay, and they used to focus on the temple destructions and who was built this Qutub Minar, okay, Iltutmish. Okay, in this way they used to focus on this medieval India part also. It's because the history is never a static subject, but the themes in the history was keep on changing as a dynamic subject. So we have to focus on here that which is important for the current affairs, and whether there is a changes in this current perspectives which were linked to this history or like static subject, we can focus on that. If you read complete ancient and medieval and modern India, you will lose this grip on this UPSC, and you will say that okay, this textbook itself is very hard, let me not read this history and I'll leave this for choice, right? But we are here to guide you and to succeed through this. Why? We'll say some shortcuts that these events are in this current affairs and you have to focus on these kind of events for this year so that you can get more amount of changes. Take example in the medieval part after 2022, why they have talked, because Sengol, which was installed in this parliament, new parliament building, again they focused on Chola's administration, okay, Ahom kings, where the Mughal India, which was a powerful kingdom which established like whole India, they were unable to conquer this one kingdom called Ahom kingdoms of tribals of northeastern states. And they focused on that theme because the Ahom kings were having this 100 years of their existence or something. Because of that only, again the questions come from medieval India. So what we have to focus is, we have to focus on the history perspective, on the repeated topics, or else like on the topics which are in the current affairs. So we have to focus in this way, and if you make certain notes out of it, then you will succeed. Why? Because history is a vast subject. You cannot keep on reading, or while the main mistake the students does is they will read everything but they will not revise in before exam. If you doesn't revise before exam, you cannot recall from your permanent memory. Okay, but after coming out of exam hall, you will say that okay, I know this question, I didn't attempt it, because you are unable to recall. Why you are not recalling? You are not revising in the proper time. Why you are not revising? You are depending upon the huge sources where you cannot repeat it within 1-2 days before the prior to exam. So what you have to do is, you have to make your own notes from the history. Okay, you should not repeat the exact words from this textbooks, but what you have to do is, you have to write in your own words and your own shortcuts. So this only happens with the repetition of subject. And let me address the one important point for this, the repetition, the importance of repetition. See, I'll give a few examples. Okay, what's your favorite song? Okay, some Bujjitali something, right? So it's okay, fine. When you first listen that song, can you exactly recall every lyric of that? No. Only you will try to recall only the humming part, something. Okay. And after that, if you listen it for the second and third time, then you may realize that there is a humming as well as there is a certain lyric. Okay. If you keep on revising it for more than 5 or 6 times, then what happens? You will recall the music, you will recall the rhythm, you will recall the lyrics as well as everything, the notes and everything. And if someone sings it a different way, and you will say that no, this is the wrong way you are going to sing. Okay. So importance of repetition. Because of this repetition only, the students will lack or they will fail in this exam. This only happens when you keep on repeating more kind of things. For repeating, what we have to do? We have to make a few gist. Okay, listen that song, understand your own way, and you will try to reproduce, right? So similarly, you have to inculcate in the subject also. Understand the whole history, write in your own way, make a gist, and so that you can repeat before your exam, so that you will be very successful in this UPSC. Not in UPSC, at any sphere. Okay. Okay, there is an advantage of learning UPSC. If you prepare for UPSC after 3-4 years, one thing for sure is you will excel in any sphere of job where you are going to do. Okay, there is a like lots and lots of difference. Before me coming to UPSC, I used to be like a very arrogant and attitude person. After coming into UPSC, I have changed completely. Why? Because this subject has that. It will drain your energy like hell. One of my friend, she was very topper. Okay, she used to be like, I think like she was a college topper, and even she was like excelling in her test series also. But she was unable to crack this UPSC because she was very much new to the practice of the UPSC. She was very good at the practices which were depend upon the for the college exam or for the industrial ready exam, but this was somewhat different, right? Okay, but after 3 years also, if she didn't cleared, what she got is, she got like pressurized problems from her family. Okay, the family persons will not say anything, but she will feel guilty and she will say that, okay, mom, I have said you that within 2 or 3 years I'll clear this UPSC and I'll return as IAS officer or IPS officer, any civil servant officer. But after 3 years of continuous rigorous pressure under this UPSC, you will, if you not cleared, what you will try to feel is, you will try to feel guilty. The moment when you feel guilty, you will suppress and you will understand the pressure, and you may lost from this way of preparation also. See, at that time, let me say that UPSC journey is like a what we say, there is a machine which is coming close and going. It's like a sandwich machine where you will, if you not act promptly, you will be sandwiched in that way of preparation. Okay, I'm somewhat more demotivating, I think so. Okay, let's go with this history. Okay, let me focus on this modern history, and I'll try to say how I'll try to teach. Okay, I'll go with the same topics. Why? Because this is a test series. You have joined for the test series. I hope that you have at least read once your subject, and now we'll focus on how we should change this to exam oriented methods. Okay, the exam oriented method. First, we'll go with the modern history. See, when we'll start this modern history? At what point of time? When we will say this is modern period, when this is ancient period, when this is medieval period?
From revolts, modern history.
From revolts, okay. From, why can't we say like before revolts? What about others? From which part can we say that this is a modern times, and how can we differentiate the subject into ancient medieval? From ending of this Mughals. The strongest ruler of Mughals, that is like 1707, the last ruler Aurangzeb. After that we can say that the British somehow, there is a political vacuum, and British has captured that political vacuum and they have established their own rule, and from then we can say that this is a modern rule, right? Let me give me a clear perspective why this subject is called as a modern India. See, till then, we used to have the same administrative posts. We used to have the same kind of kingdom where after kingship there is a few ministers, and that minister, under them there was a soldiers leader, and then the sepoys. Okay, this is the traditional way we used to succeed. But in the Britishers also we used to have the same theme, but the change is that these persons were not acting as a king, but they were behaving like king, but they were not efficiently acting as a king. They have changed their perspective to satisfy the industrial revolution or the recognition of the consciousness they have got. Okay, they used to say that Renaissance. Okay, they changed the perspective. It means that, take example, we have few administrative posts like talukdar, okay, zamindars. Okay, these are kind of persons. Okay, earlier we used to give the person who is the strongest from our own army. Okay, but on the later part we will not focus on this kind of perspective. We will focus on the perspective where these persons are trying to keep hold in terms of economical perspective. Okay, see, Britishers has established their rule. After that, they need that few money should be extracted from this India, so that they can newly build that United Kingdom on the modern perspective way. Okay, and the drain of wealth was happened from this part while the establishment of British rule, in the establishment after this 1750s, their battle, where the Battle of Buxar was the change of point where the whole kingdom was gone under the hands of the Britishers. So from then they have changed the complete perspective. From then only they have brought new education. Okay, they have changed the societal perspective. The cultural front was completely changed. They doesn't want this monotheism, they want this polytheism in the terms of Christianity. And they used to change, and they used to change in the every sphere, even in terms of education for the students, which we are on the structured way of learning, Woods Dispatch. Okay, they used to go with the peasants in the terms of Rayatwari, Zamindari. There are different rights. They used to impact on these persons. They used to never leave any person also. They used to change the whole lives of the society, Indian society. And they made, where we used to on the self-sufficiency, they have made us as dependency persons. So we can obtain this change in the society as the modern perspective. Okay, how we became slaves. Even today, we try to get on this pant and shirts rather than dhoti and pancha. Why? Because we have influenced by this Western culture. The educational system was come from this Woods Dispatch. So what we have to do? We have to satisfy the way of methods I should follow so that my colleagues or my students used to replicate from myself. Okay, these are the changes which was brought by these Britishers after their establishment of rule. Because of that only this era is called modern era, modern perspective era. Okay, after that there are few important themes. Okay, what they did is, see, they used to, as I said, like they used to take every amount of wealth from this India and they will try to re-establish this Europe. But there are few person who were got this education, but they need a few persons to make this happen in India. Why? Because they can't bring these Europeans where they doesn't know this languages, vernacular languages, and they can't command these persons. So there should be a commanding person from this society itself. But they need this like as a mediators. So these persons has been trained. The Indian persons who was acting as a mediators, they were being trained by whom? These Britishers. Okay, and for training of them, this person brought few education for them. Okay, because of this education, what they have changed their own thoughts. They understood the liberty, they understood the fraternity, they understood the equality, and these are the few changes. Then after that, what they said, okay, when there are few philosophies like Western ideologies where liberty and equality was equally respected as a fraternity in their Europe, why they are not focusing here? Why? Because like they used to show this racism, okay, towards this Indian. They used to say that you Indians are like very much cheaper fellows in front of us. The color discrimination which was brought by this Britishers only. Until then, we never used to have this color discrimination. Even Lord Krishna was somewhat like darker in color, but we used to keep him as a god. Okay, we never used to have this color discrimination. But this color discrimination, the racial theory which was existent in this Europe, they brought it for this India. Okay, somehow they have changed all this perspective. Okay, after this, what happens when these persons who were the mediators, when they understood this kind of education, Western education system, they tried to understand that the Britishers were not developing us, they were exploiting us. Okay, then they have revolted. The first revolt is 1857 revolt. After this, there are different revolts. See, take example, on the later part, UPSC also focus on how this nationalist association happens. In that nationalistic associations, one is the most successful, that is forming of Indian National Congress, and how through this Indian National Congress will go through this extremist versus what is this? Extremists, moderates, will go through this moderates and extremists and will understand the differences between them, and how this Congress again was being suppressed after there is no proper movement in this Congress to fight back for the nationality of this India. The one leader who changed the whole perspective is Mahatma Gandhi, and we will see from the Mahatma Gandhi eyes how we should go back and why we should fight back our own freedom. Okay, and on the later part, how this Gandhi used different non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement. Somehow we will go with this different round table conferences, Cripps mission, cabinet plan, and somehow will get our own freedom. Okay, this is the whole part where our society has been changed. Okay, to present day perspectives. Earlier we never used to have this liberty. Okay, we doesn't used to have this equality. Okay, there is a traditional caste system where we have divided and identified ourselves in the regional identity. Okay, but in modern times we have identified with the new philosophies. So we call this as a modern period. Okay, the important topics for this UPSC, and let me make you understand few topics regarding this. See, why did this 1857 revolt happen? Have you read this spectrum? If you see this
Religious causes, okay.
religious conscious,
Like big fat and cow fat and
pig fat and cow fat. Okay, then
and kings and queens and doctrine of Ladsey.
okay,
And
okay. You are saying from there?
no, sir.
No. Okay, fine. And what about others? Any other? What about others? Why did? Yes. What is this essay? Srikant Acharya. Yes, a time many advances in science, politics, warfare, technology, globalization. Okay, modern times. Okay, good. So, Acharya, who was speaking? Arvind? Are you speaking? Are you saying something regarding 1857 revolt? Why it was happened? You can say. What?
Cultural practices they involved.
They involved?
But cultural practices.
Okay, they involved in the cultural practices. Okay, and what about that? Others? And any other like inputs from other persons? Divya Priya, BLNV Prasad. What about others? No involvement? Sophia Joseph, Srikant Acharya, Sindhura, Shalini. Anyone? What about others? No one? Okay, let me say that. See, 1857 revolt, if we study in this spectrum or some other way, they'll say that 1857 revolt is the first movement of persons, like sepoys used to revolt against this British persons, as they have identified that they were not only draining our wealth, they are not only made us slaves, but they are intervening in our own culture perspective. Okay, and we will try to read that in the terms of what there is a different kind of fats which were used by these cartridges, and that triggered that situation. But let me put a perspective in reality. See, if you are on the in a class, if I criticize you on the day one, you will not feel anything and you will try to go with that, and you will try to go with that flow. After 10 days also you will not do anything, but after few days, one or the other day, after 15 or 20 days, you will revolt back, right? So these persons also revolted because there are not one significant event or two significant events. There are multiple events. It started with the religion. The first thing is, what they did is, they have included in the terms of there is a 38th regiment. Okay, that regiment, those regiment persons are transferred to Burma. Okay, they are transferred to Burma for their own military operation as a sepoys. Okay, in this Burma, there is a caste notion. If you cross the seas, you will lose your caste. There is a belief in this caste system that you should not cross the sea at any of cost. This was a theme they were believing from then. And this person says that Britishers, you Indians are rejecting our own demands. You are going against us so that we can suppress you. They used to be in that mind, and they never recognized our own problems. Okay, because of that, the resistance has come in the form of cause 1. They were depressed because of this, and they said like, whatever the punishment you give, we'll stay here only, we will not go to this Burma. And the second theme was the packages. What is this packages? Take example, English sepoy was given more salary than the Indian sepoy. Okay, the highest job of the Indian sepoy is Subedar. The Subedar is getting this 27 rupees, which is lower the salary of the English sepoy. the second cause where they got discontent, and the third cause is promotions. There is a job called Risaldar, where the persons has joined as a Risaldar, they used to get this and they used to go for higher promotions and they used to serve this army. But the person who joined as a Risaldar has retired as a Risaldar. They will also get this discontent, right? Why these persons are not promoting Indians? The third cause. And the fourth cause is conversions. What are the conversions? They used to say in the term that, okay, if you focus on this Christianity, you will understand the negative aspects of your own religion. They used to say that this sati system, what kind of system is this? You are killing your own fellow human being who were female. Why you are that discriminatory? And they used to see these religious practices and they used to say that if you obtain this and if you convert into this religion, you will get this few promotions and you will get few other benefits from the Britishers. Okay, they used to say in that way. But from the childhood onwards, if you are focusing on certain religion, if I ask you to convert from that religion and the practices you are going through from past 10 or 15 years, will you change that? You will get that resentment. This is other cause. And what about this ridiculing the religion? They used to openly criticize that this Islam is certain dash and dash, this Hinduism is certain dash and dash, there are no proper religion. They used to criticize in this way. And the other cause, the last cause is food. Okay, the last cause is food. There is a atta, okay, where North Indians used to eat for the chapati. Even South India or any person will try to cook this chapati through this atta, right? The atta was mixed with the dust flour, bone and dust. Okay, why? Because they cannot give more amount of food resources for the Indian soldiers. They want only this resources to be obtained for the European soldiers. They doesn't focus on the food provisions given for the Indians. And what they used to do? They used to mix with impurities. Okay, it will look like atta, but it was a powder of dust, which was made up of this bone or ash. This got that resentment, and they used to say that what kind of food is this? And they also get this resentment. And the last theme is cartridges. When these persons were trying to do certain drills, they used to cut this cartridge through this mouth and they used to insert something and they used to fire. Okay, when this cartridges was made by this pig fat and cow fat, they got intensified because of this. This is a step-by-step descendment which was caused by this military military training. Okay, this military training, what they did is, on the later front, when they understood that harming a cow is a very much against our religion in this Hindus, and the using of pig is very much haram for the Muslims also. They used to feel that as a haram means nothing but harmful kind of processing for the Muslims. When these both persons were suffering from this pig and cow fat, how will they use it through the mouth? Okay, they got resentment and they fired up. And they said that one person, Mangal Pandey, and he said that okay, this is enough. Now we have to revolt back. We should kill them. Okay, and he will try to kill one European soldier also. From the Meerut onwards, the revolt has been started. And not only military cause. Okay, there are like only this few military causes, but let me explain, there are other causes like political cause and economical cause also. Okay, I'll try to bring a different reading of different books, and I'll try to bring the important resources where you can remember or retain for longer period. Okay, why? Because depending upon only on spectrum will not sufficient, and if I repeating the same topic which was in spectrum, there is no use. Okay, so what I'll try to do in this program is I'll try to bring the different material from, and I'll read that materials and I'll try to portrait and I'll keep there in a consolidated way so that you can benefit from this. Okay, and the second cause is political cause. Okay, what is this political cause? We all know that what is this doctrine of lapse? Who brought this? Britishers, Dalhousie. He used to say that if you are not having any male heir, it means that the male person, okay, from the family, then you will lose your own kingship and you have to give back that kingship to this Britishers. Okay, this is how they used to conquer. Okay, initially they used to fight wars. Okay, Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar, where they understood that fighting or waging wars with the locals will reduce our own profits, which we are sending for Europeans or British. Okay, they understood that rather than fighting on these wars, why can't we use diplomacy? Through diplomacy, we can conquer their minds and we can avoid that extra budget spending on this military, and we can send that money to the profits or our own salaries. They have understood and they have brought new policies, subsidiary alliance policy, saying that I will provide you military and army. They said like on the name of friendship, they introduced this policy like Geo, which gave free data for us. After utilizing this data, they have charged us. Similarly, the subsidiary alliance also, they will say that you should not maintain any troops, we will give our own troops in the name of friendship. Okay, but you have to give few concessions for that in that way. On the later path, when these persons has conquered in terms of like more employment in by the salaries which were paid by the kings, they said that now we are unable to provide these many kind of soldiers, now you have to pay them. Okay, now after understanding this benefits, you will say that okay, rather than paying my own soldiers, let me choose the European soldiers. They are very advanced in the terms of weapons. Okay, one gun can kill 10 members of soldiers who are using the swords and knives. Okay, then they understood and they said like okay, let me give this. On the later part, what happened? If you are unable to pay the fees for this sepoys, your kingdom will be seized. Somehow many kings has lost their own thing. Okay, they also brought this doctrine of lapse. Okay, the doctrine of lapse where the male heir was not there, then you have to give back the kingdom for the whom? Britishers. But one theme what we have to focus is Awadh, the Wajid Ali Shah has numerous kids. Okay, he used to have male kids like number of persons. They cannot apply subsidiary alliance. Why? Because they were very friendly with this British's government. He was very friendly. He used to accept the provisions after the Battle of Buxar, where he lost his Battle of Buxar and he signed everything. Okay, so he was very friendly. So we cannot take through subsidiary alliance. So if I want to take this through doctrine of lapse, he has male heirs, like he has 15 sons or 10 sons. You cannot take in that way. But how they took is, they said like, you are misgoverning. Okay, they have taken this Awadh in the terms of misgoverning, and they utilize the clause called doctrine of lapse. I don't know how they utilize, but somehow this Britishers, you may understood that sir, this is not the proper way to capture, right? Even the Britishers did the same thing. The sepoys will also feel the same, right? Our king was very friendly in the stand of subsidiary alliance. Doctrine of lapse also not accepted for this. Why? Because for the Rani of Jhansi, there is no male heir, you can take that. Okay, this is logical, as you said. But this is illogical, you are taking from this Awadh, and they got this resentment and they said like, okay, why this person has took over our own kingdom? And they brought new revenue policies. In the revenue policies, under the king, they used to never pay. The soldiers never used to pay. Okay, but under this Britishers, they have to pay the taxes. This got their resentment. Okay, and there is other cause also. Okay, administrative post. Take example. Now, the ruler has been changed. Okay, the new ruler was ruling in this English. The new persons were unable to learn this English. They were very much favor for this Urdu. Okay, how can they understood this English? Okay, they have lacked this job and they lacked employment. And if they want to go back for their own agriculture or traditional practice, the traditional practice is already destroyed by these Britishers in the name of industrialization. Okay, they have already cancelled all this. So they were having this lack of unemployment, they got resentment and they said like, no, now it's the time to revolt. And there is other economical cause. The British revenue policy, how they made excessive amount of Indian rupees to, somehow they have reduced us as slaves. I said like deindustrialization. Once upon a time, we used to stitch our own clothes and we used to sell for the world. Okay, now what we are doing, we are importing this Levi's shirt, Pepe jeans shirt, or else like pants, okay, Nike, Reebok, we used to say that. From where did we got this? they changed this perspective. Rather than we producing and selling to whole world, they have cancelled the system, and they made us importers of this foreign goods. Okay, here somehow what they did, British revenue policy, they destroyed our own industries. This made them also resentment. Why? Because I cannot go for my traditional works. Cancelled. Second thing, discouraging traditional industries. Okay, if you can stitch by your own, they have said like, no, if you are stitched by yourself, you are selling for 10 rupees, I will give it for 1 rupee. Why? Because it was a machine made and it is perfectly made. Okay, then the person, which one will you prefer? You will prefer the cheaper one. Okay, somehow the market will choose this only. So somehow they succeeded and they killed these industries, deindustrialized. And the Religious Disability Act. The Religious Disability Act is one of the worst case where these people was fought back. What is this religious disabled cause? Take example, my father was having 10 acres of land. Okay, if I want to get that land after my father's demise, I should convert into Christianity, or else like I will not get my father's property. I will not inherit any property from my own father. Is this a logical way of transferring the asset? It's not logical way. This person understood that these persons want to convert us into Christianity. Because of that only they brought this kind of Religious Disability Act, and they want us to convert into certain religion. They got frustrated and they have gone through this revolt. This was the first time, and all these are the few causes which was happened for the 1857 revolt. Okay, and let me address few questions. These are previous year's questions. Okay, the revolt of 1857 was the culmination of recurrent big and small local rebellions that has occurred in the precedent 100 years of British rule. Okay, in the precedent 100 years of British rule, these are the few changes. You can write through these 3 points, you can create your own answer, you can address this. This is how Vijayebhava works out. Okay, you can understand like how this Vijayebhava may work out, you can address through this. Okay, next, explain how the uprising of 1857 constitutes an important watershed evolution of British policies towards the colonial India. Because of this only, after this event was happened, Britishers involved and they have changed this East India Company rule to British Crown rule. They have included Indians and they shift their own bases. You can write everything from this part also. So you have addressed both these questions by learning this. Okay, this is how Vijayebhava program works out. Okay, let us have 5 minutes break. As we all know that more than 20 minutes we cannot concentrate. I'll give that time. We'll sit quietly for 5-10 minutes and then we'll come back for other important points, and in next 10 minutes I will say different topics and I'll close. Okay. Okay, we'll start with other topic, somewhat more important, how we'll try to learn why this Indian National Congress has been popped out. Okay, after this 1857 revolt, we used to see that there are different revolts from the peasants itself. Why? Because the peasants were only the person who were suffering because of this revenue policy, land revenue policy. Okay, Rayatwari, Mahalwari. Okay, because of these systems, the zamindar was extracting more amount from these peasants, and they were paying for whom? These Britishers. Okay, the zamindars were on the middleman. Somehow they are exploiting. They were reaching their targets and they were paying that. So peasants felt that and they have revolted back. They were not succeeded that much as similar kind of 1857 revolt. But there are other persons in the society, right? The Britishers even brought the education to India. Why? They need some workers from the Indians itself. Okay, they have educated, right? The second theme, the zamindars were exploiting this peasant. They understood that they were exploiting, right? And they have to pay the targets to whom? Britishers. So what they did, they have that culture conscious that, okay, somehow we are draining our own wealth of our own country. Initially, their own regions. Initially, in the 1857 revolt or this peasant revolts, there is no all India associations. Okay, there is no recognition of all India consciousness. Take example, nowadays, who are you? If I ask in this way, you will say that, sir, I am an Indian. Okay, or else like I belong to certain region, but I will recognize as an Indian. If you go to this any foreign nation or any other region, you will say that I was belonging to this nationalism. So the nationalism concept was absent after this 1857 revolt. Okay, and till this 1880s. Okay, so there are certain persons like greater person like Rajaram Mohan Rai. Okay, this person was having this education and he was very efficient in the religious text also, and he was the person having knowledge in different languages, so he perceived everything. Okay, from the Persian he understood few subjects, from English he understood few subjects, from local languages Sanskrit and different languages he understood few subjects, and he identified that there are few loopholes where we are forgetting that, and we are not recognizing that we are one person called Indian. Okay, then he said that okay, we should focus on few ideals from the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we should get few ideals from this nationalism concept from the European education. He understood regarding this liberty, fraternity, and again same concepts, and he said that now we have to form our own associations and we have to discuss the impacts of the British rule. Okay, because of that theme, the persons were inspired from that, and they come and meet every movement whenever they used to get the time, and they used to talk regarding this. When the talks happen, you will get into certain consciousness, and somehow our nationalistic identity has generated there. Okay, after generating this, there are different associations like Academic Association of 1828, which was brought by this Rajaram Mohan Roy, and he was saying that okay, now onwards we used to focus on the dependency of the like Indians were more dependent on this Britishers for lack of involvement. Okay, if you doesn't understand how the product is producing and how they are selling, okay, you will unable to rebuild it, and somehow you will depend upon the other persons only. Then they understood that somehow we have to crack this themes, and we have to understood the changes how these Britishers were doing, and what the measures we have to do for revitalize our own self-dependency. Okay, they brought this Academic Association. There is a landholders society also. Initially they want to protect their own land. Why? Because if the zamindar was unable to pay the money, they will take over the land. Okay, so they also brought this landholder society, and there are Bombay like association. Okay, there are different associations, but whole associations were brought only for the few themes, that is Indianization of civil services. What they were saying is they want few law, that there is a cotton tariff law. Okay, if you want to import certain cotton, okay, or sorry, if you want to export certain cotton, you have to pay some taxes. These persons are not liking that. Okay, and if they want their own cotton for making of their own clothes, they have to pay taxes. What kind of taxes? They used to tax everything. We used to see in the history that salt tax. They used to tax on everything. They want that payment somehow by exploiting these Indians. They understood and they were not accepting on these taxes. And there is like opposition of Arms Act. After 1857 revolt, what happens? The Britishers were very conscious that if we give weapons, they will revolt against us. Mangal Pandey was revolted and killed this sepoy, and it made as a revolt of 1857 from Meerut to Delhi. It captured whole Delhi, and somehow it suppressed by later part. But the initial idea of capturing this happened because they got this arms. So what they said is, now onwards we are bringing a new law that no Indian should possess any arm. any gun or any military equipment without license. Okay, and for that license you have to pay again the tax. Okay, so this person said that why these persons are restricting us for having our own arms. Next, vernacular press act. So the British problems were identified by Rajaram Mohan Rai and other members, right? They are trying to portray these problems which were exploitations of this British in the local language through local newspapers. As many persons understand this local language, they tend to get understand through this vernacular papers. Okay, what they did, if the consciousness was happened for the whole society, then the threat of existing of this British India in India, okay, the Britishers in India will be like they will go against us. So they understood that consciousness and they said that no publications will be happened in this vernacular languages. Okay, why? Because they doesn't know what they were talking. Why? Because these persons are lacking of this vernacular languages. They may convey in that Telugu language or else like English language. If we are speaking in our own language, the other person who are only knowing certain English language, they can't understand, right? So somehow what we are doing, we are giving you the nationalistic ideas how these persons are exploiting. So there is a chance. So these persons banned that. Next, they also got this Ilbert bill. Okay, the Ilbert bill is nothing but one bill where Indian judges can send the European nationals, okay, or if some culprit was from the European nations, they can trial them. Okay, the Indian judges can trial them and make them go behind the bars. Okay, but European doesn't like it. Okay, the Ilbert bill, and what they did is they got a fierce opposition that how can an Indian can trial these Europeans, and they said like no, we will not accept this provision. Okay, but on the later path, what they did, they have changed this Ilbert bill's original form and they have said that okay, now Indian judge cannot trial these Europeans, but he should have this panel where 50% or above persons should be this Europeans, and then there are few judges they can trial in that way. Okay, but these political associations understood that, they have understood that this is the one or the other form of racism. Why you are not allowing to trail these European culprits with this Indian judges? They have said that we need the original form of this Ilbert bill. Why this Indian cannot if he was a culprit, we have to trail them. This was the theme. Because of this few themes, what happened? The political associations have understood that okay, somehow we have to form a nationalistic association and we have to fight back this Britishers. Somehow the birth of Indian National Congress was happened. The persons similarly like us, they used to prepare Indian civil services in this London. At that time there is no exam in India. Okay, they used to prepare in London. This person used to meet under this one person, Dadabhai Naoroji, who was a businessman at that time, and these persons said that let us form a new association called Indian National Congress, where it will be a secular kind of party where it can address every person's problem of whole India. Somehow they have brought this Indian National Congress. The leaders was from Bengal, their Madras, as well as from the Bombay. And after that, the most important person, the Dufferin, okay, who was like a governor general at that time, viceroy at that time. What he did is, he said that the modern administration or the modern people who were this members of this Indian National Congress, what they were trying to do is, they want few processes which Britishers were following. Take example, if I want to change an act, take example, the teachers should not stand in the class and they should sit on the class. What Britishers try to do is, they used to make that rule, they used to pass in the parliament and they will make that as an act. Okay, after that no person will try to sit. This is how the Britishers used to work. Okay, what this person used to do is, Indian National Congress, earlier persons who brought this Indian National Congress, they used to go through these petitions and they used to say that please give us this Indian representation, and they are like lawyers. The process they know is fighting through law. Okay, they used to say that in this man, they used to say that please give us, please give us. They used to beg this Britishers, but Britishers never used to give. And but they were addressing every problem of these Indians. Because of this, the approach these persons were using, these persons are called moderates. Okay, they were never a fierce person. Okay, there are second person in this Congress, which was established in 1905. From the 1885 itself, Congress has been started. Okay, but 1905 we used to see the new person in this Congress. Those are like Gopal Krishna Gokhale, who was the leader at that time. After this, Dadabhai Naoroji, these both persons used to coordinate and they used to give the new energy of this. There are Balagangadhar Tilak. These are called extremists. Rather than depending upon these petitions, these persons used to say that, okay, let us throw a bomb and let us destroy them and let them realize that if we are asking something, if you are pending that, we can kill you. Okay, this is some kind of revolt. Okay, these are like extremist ideology. Okay, take a bomb, I'll throw on you if you not accept. Okay, this is how the extremist used to work. Okay, and there is a split between these both persons at Surat. Okay, why did this happen? It's because of partition of Bengal. See, in this Bengal, there are different political association has been popped up. I have addressed one Indian National Congress, but there are different political associations, right? So they want to separate these associations. They want to divide and rule us. They want to make that there is a taboo that if we separate on themselves in the terms of nationalism, they will not suppress. But if we divide them in terms of religion, definitely they will divide among themselves, and they wish to, like, we can suppress this modern associations. Then they have understood and they said that let us partition this Bengal. Okay, East versus West Bengal. Okay, which were given for the Muslims, which were given for the Hindus. Okay, somehow this split was happened. This was not liked by this new leaders of the Congress of 1905. They have said that no, why you are splitting this Bengal? You are saying in the terms of like development, but you have split it because you want to divide us and we want to rule. Okay, this time first the people was got with a movement called Swadeshi movement. They said like now we will try to boycott all British goods. Why? Because we were importing at that time. We are not depending upon local goods. We are importing everything and we are doing them. So now they try to burn everything. The extremists, I said like they used to throw the bombs, right? They have that extremist ideologies. So what they did in the Swadeshi movement, they said like let us burn everything which is Britishers. Okay, British originating or anything. If you see something that is British, let us burn it. Okay, this person said that way, and the movement has spreaded wildfire in the whole Bengal. Not only in the Bengal, it even spreaded for the other parts of the region. Okay, the moderates doesn't want that to happen. Why? Because I said like in the Indian National Congress, they want to go through these petitions. Okay, not only in the Bengal, if we have disturbances in the Bombay as well as in the Madras, the Britishers will not listen these both persons' words, right? So what they want to restrict this Swadeshi movement towards this Bengal. But what this extremist said like, no, why you are restricting this? See, we doesn't want any dominion status, we doesn't want anything. If we doesn't rule ourselves, what is the need of fighting for all this kind of concessions from the Britishers? And they said that there is no substitute for the better government than the Swaraj. And they gave this slogan and they said like, from now onwards, we will adopt the Swaraj, the self-rule, okay, at any of cost. And because of this, the ideology was different from this moderates, and the ideology of the perspective of the moderates are different from the extremists. And because of that, there is a split called Surat split, which is very famous. Okay, after that, Indian National Congress has been suppressed, the political movements has been suppressed. But after that, one main theme was changed, Home Rule movement, which was brought by this whom? Annie Besant. Okay, what she did is, from the Irish way of home rule, she revived this. She need this extremist, she need that moderates also, but she was more supportive to this extremist. Somehow she brought again a movement in this reviving of national associations. Somehow Balagangadhar Tilak also brought this, and he was actively participated in this movement. But there are different operations. Whole India was seen by this Sunny Besant, but only on the only on the Maharashtra, this central regions, on the Bombay and the Karnataka were focused by this Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and his events was also made few dimensions, like he used to bring local festivals. We all celebrate this Ganesh Chaturthi, which is like a community festival, but initially it was a Brahmins festival only restricted for the homes. But how he made this as a community festival, because the people are not coming outside. He want to inculcate the nationalism, but this nationalism was new concept for every person. So what he did, he used the religion and inculcated nationalism into that, and let us every person showcase our own problems in this community festival. And he celebrated this Ganesh Chaturthi, which is on the present day, the way we celebrate, it's because of this Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Somehow he brought this extremist ideologies into this festival, and we were fighting back whom? Britishers. And there's other festivals also, like Chhatrapati Shivaji festival. But if you observe this, this is the time the Muslims were also not liking the Congress. Initially they were not liking, because the Congress system was worked in terms of the pattern where rich Hindus were there. Okay, they were not valuing in terms of religion of Muslims. But this is one perspective where Muslims used to feel that. But majority people, see, where there is 100% in the class, if 80% are alike and 20% are different, it doesn't mean that the 80% are against this 20%. It means that their way of opinions were different. But the Muslim perceived it wrong way, and they have splitted from this Congress. But again there is a major movement. Again the Hindu Muslims were united later part. Why? Because the Khilafat movement. Initially Britishers were very much like obedient for Muslims were very much obedient for this Britishers. But when the Ottoman Turkey was lost, the Britishers understood that Muslims understood that the Britishers were not helping this caliphate. Okay, somehow this is the moment where again the Hindu Muslims has combined, and again the movement has been again started. But on the later front, a new political leader has come up, and he changed the whole perspective through Satyagraha. He was Mahatma Gandhi. There are other leaders also who fought back for this independence through their own India struggle for independence. But the Satyagraha, it changed the perspective of the Britishers. See, what is Satyagraha? Let me say in the few simple words. See, if your parents are not accepting what you're doing, what you will do? You will try not to eat for today. And you will say that, no, I will not do anything. I want something. I want that bike. I want this car, or I want this necklace. You will say in that way, right? The parents were angry regarding your ideology, but they will not beat you. They will say that, okay, you go whatever you do whatever you want to do, and after 2 days they will understand you are reducing your own energy and you are on the verge of weakness. Then they will compromise and they will say that, okay, you want bike, okay, I'll try to buy you on the later front. This is how the Satyagraha works out. Okay, we will not directly oppose the enemies. Okay, we will make them realize, okay, that our needs were different from your needs. Your way of opinions are different from our own opinions. Why? Because Gandhi have identified that Indian National Association was not that strong to challenge this British military might. If they started revolt, they will kill this. Take example Bhagat Singh. When this Lala Lajpat Rai was died in this one movement, the Bhagat Singh tried to kill them. But what Britishers did? They hanged this Bhagat Singh. So he understood that the nationalistic leaders who were fighting for this freedom, those persons are without any mercy, they were killing. So Gandhi understood that, okay, we should make them realize rather than fighting directly. Okay, and somehow they have what happened, like where I am. Somehow they have to realize that the opinions was different. So this is the way the Gandhiji's Satyagraha worked. Okay, Champaran Satyagraha, Keda Mill. Okay, there are different Satyagrahas. through this different movements, non-cooperation movement, civil disobedient movement, and like Quit India movement. These are the few movements like Gandhi instigated and said that okay, this is the way how we have to fight this Britishers, and he made that Britishers understood that we need the cooperation of Indians, or else like we cannot exist in this India. He made that in that situation. He made India that powerful. Britishers should ask the help of these Indians, and somehow this is the way we have fight back our own freedom. This is like complete edition of India's struggle for independence. And after independence there are different struggles also. We'll try to focus on this other chapters, okay, other lectures, because this is somewhat lengthy. Okay, I hope like this was somewhat more informative. If you have any doubts regarding this topics or any Vijayebhava, you can ask this. Okay, you have any doubts? No? Okay. Any online persons? See, these are like different slides I have brought this, and there are few questions also I want to say regarding this, but lack of time I have closed this session. Okay. The founder of Theosophical Society was not Annie Besant. Okay. There are other persons. Did I mention here? Helena Blavatsky and Henry Olcott. These persons are like founders, but later she revived that movement. She utilized this movement and somehow she spread this home rule movement. Okay. And what about others? Okay, B. Okay, somehow 2 and 3. Okay. Okay, done. Have you any? Do you have any doubts? No, right? Do you have any doubts? How this program works out, or how we should focus on this UPSC prelims subjects? What are the textbook you have to follow? You can ask anything. Do you have any doubts regarding any?
What are the different approaches for the ancient, medieval, and modern?
See, in the ancient, you have to focus on this important themes where the present day society's problems were addressed through solutions. Take example, Indus Valley civilization. Urbanization was solved through this Indus Valley only. In the Indus Valley, we have this structured way of homes. Okay, there are different patterns of like construction. Okay, and take example for the approach of this ancient. Why do you think like Buddhism has originated?
For the Brahmanism and religious causes like.
Whenever there is a societal problem where society unable to adopt it, they used to change for new perspective, right? So you have to focus on while reading on this ancient India, we have to focus on this change of perspectives. Take example, in the earliest stage, what we used to do is we used to depend upon natures. Okay, we used to depend upon natural resources. Okay, what happened on the later front? Unknown reasons, we don't know why it was happened. The Indus Valley civilization has been collapsed. Okay, there's a change in this perspective. Okay, initially we have to focus on how this what are the peak limit in this Indus Valley civilization. Okay, and how it changed, and what is the next peak limit? It was Vedic culture, and we got through religion, Vedas. Okay, we have to focus on this the changes that was happened in this society in the terms of religion, sati system on the later Vedic. Okay, what a difference between
rituals and sacrifices.
Between the early Vedic and later Vedic, there are we have the changes in the philosophical way also. The way we perceive the gods also changes. Okay, and on the later Vedic culture, we used to get for the Puranic culture. Puranic culture is nothing but focusing on the Lord Vishnu, Shiva. Okay, there are few changes which was been observed. So while reading this R.S. Sharma in the ancient period, try to read in the bird view that what are the few changes, what are the peak level where the whole chapter was trying to say. Okay, on the later front, when we got this kings, you have to focus on socio-economic perspective. Okay, what are the changes which was brought in the ancient times? Take example Ashoka. Okay, how he used to change the perspectives, religious dhamma, how he used to get this change in the behavioral pattern of his own subjects. Okay, why ethics was important at that time. He used to change this perspective. Okay, we have to focus on that peak systems. Okay, in the terms of medieval India, we have to focus on like how these kingdoms have came up and how they established and how they interconnected with and how they interconnected into this Indian system and how they administrated. That's it. Okay, in the modern medieval perspective. In the modern perspective, you have to focus on how this struggle. Take example, this year they may ask 1857 revolt. Why? Because we are seeing that in the last few days, Syria was being captured by the militants. Okay, we can say that they were militant, but they were nationalist for that Syria. Okay, somehow the local people was not liking that Bashar al-Assad and they were fighting back. Similarly, anything was happened in modern India, it was happened at the time of 1857 revolt. Our own military persons were fighting back for our own existence of nationalism, existence of our own local kingdom, rather than focusing on these Britishers who were suppressing us. So these are a few themes where we have went into the peak stages and we have reduced. These are the few points where we have to focus on while reading this ancient or medieval or modern India. The standard textbooks is R.S. Sharma, Satish Chandra as well as Bipin Chandra. Okay, or else like for the modern India you can go with Spectrum also. This question, see, as I said, like after Surat split, we have seen that the Congress have been divided. Okay, there is no active movement. But on the later path, when this Annie Besant has been joined in this Congress, she tried to revive this Congress. Okay, but for reviving that Congress, what she have to do? She have to instigate few principles that there is a movement called Home Rule movement where we can rule ourselves. Okay, but the political organization should come up and they have to fight back this for the freedom. This was the theme she was brought. So initially she started this Home Rule movement which she brought from this Irish way, and she did that so that the statement 1 will be correct. And second, the founder of Theosophical Society. The Theosophical Society was not founded by her. Okay, but later she revived that in the terms of she utilized this Home Rule movement. Okay, the statement 2 will be wrong. Once the president of Indian National Congress, see, when she revived this Congress, she have obtained the same ideologies which was similar to this extremist person, and she became the president of this Indian National Congress, where she got this few ideas that how the Muslims League, okay, the Muslims League has inculcated into it, and how the extremist persons importance were there, how the moderates importance was there, and then these people identified that okay, she was a candidate, she can revive our own association, and she even made it as a president. So the answer will be 1 and 3. Okay, it is not 2. Okay, you can eliminate the 2. With that, the option is C. Okay, and what about this Simon Commission? The Simon Commission, we all know that after again the revival of this Congress, again these persons are fighting back for their own freedom. So they understood that we have to divide this person. So they have divided this Bengal. Because of that dividing of Bengal, there is a faction that has been started. Okay, and they were treating the extremists with the one way and the moderates as one way. They used to suppress this extremists and they used to very much friendly with this moderates. Okay, on the later part, what happens? They brought that okay, moderates, we are changing you, or we are bringing you with the new reforms called Morley-Minto reforms, where you will be included, the Indian representation will be happened. Simon Commission, okay. In the Morley Minto reforms, they said like, okay, the Muslims will be represented with the separate electorate, okay. Somehow they brought few reforms through to saying that, okay, the moderates were the few persons who were asking through petitions, and we will try to change this. But on the later perspective, in reality what they did, they have not changed any development regarding Indian representation. They merely again they exploited in this way also. On the later front, again these persons get angry from this, and in the 1915s itself, the Bal Gangadhar Tilak says that now it's the time. This moderates example was also a nothing but separating, and they were dividing and ruling us, and they have said in this way, and they then this person who the Bal Gangadhar Tilak has increased his fighting against these Britishers. Then what happens? They also brought this Government of India 1919 Act. This is Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. In this they brought the central provincials, central legislative assembly, and there are different forms of representation. And then they said like in the central legislative assembly we'll get like central list and union list and the provincial list. In the provinces they brought this diarchy. Okay, these are the few themes which are brought in this Government of India Act 1919. But again, on the later front, the Indians were not satisfied with this also. They understood the loopholes of this policy also. Then the Britishers from that Labour Party has sent few commission that how this constitutionalizing of Indians, okay, the Indians has bringing their own constitution, and what are the works which was happening through this modern reforms, you have to check and you have to give some suggestions. They have sent this Simon Commission. In the Simon Commission, what happens? There is no representation of Indians. So every person are from this European. Then if every person are from the European, how will they understand the problems of India? Okay, and they have boycotted everything. Okay, this is regarding Simon Commission. Okay, there is like hartals or strikes regarding the Simon Commission also. Even earlier I said like Lala Lajpat Rai was died in the fighting. It was happened because of the Simon Commission. Even Bhagat Singh has killed the person who killed this Lala Lajpat Rai, who hit him on his chest. Okay, with that we'll solve this. Why did Simon Commission face widespread protest in India upon its arrival in 1928? Because it proposed constitutional reforms? No. It included no Indian members? Yes. It aimed to increase British control? No. It was sent during a famine. Of course, these both are like important, but the widespread protest was happened because these persons not included any Indian members. This is how we have to solve. We have to understand the whole concept, and we have to include that by understanding the statements, and we have to eliminate somehow if that is right or wrong. Okay, in the prelims, one advantage is that there is the answer itself was there in that 4 options, but if you read through that in the subject, you will identify that which is wrong and which is right, and you will solve this. Okay.